Imagine that everyone in your community is an athlete, that they strive for athletic performance. Not to be perfect, not to like win gold medals, not to make a lot of money being an athlete, but they just have this mindset of being an athlete. It doesn't matter what their weight is, it doesn't matter how tall they are, how fast they run, or how high they jump, but they have this mindset of mastery. So they find something they like. Maybe it's yoga, maybe it's cycling, maybe it's high-intensity interval training. They find something that they like and they decide to go for it. They say, I don't care if I'm going to be the best in the world or even the best in my class, but I'm going to do everything I can to try to get better at that. So what happens when everybody in the community buys into this? When everyone buys into this in the community, you're going to see that everyone's going to get healthier, right? All of a sudden there's going to be, you're not going to get as sick. You guys might notice when you start working out a lot, you don't get sick as often. And then you might find that the only time you get sick is when you're burnt out, which we're going to discuss that today, adrenal burnout. But the community then all of a sudden has more energy. And from a personal standpoint, when you start working out, you have a lot more energy. Then all of a sudden the work that you do, you get home and like you're still energized, you want to go work out, right? By the weekend, you have more energy, and instead of just like hanging out and watching movies, like you have the energy to go out and do something with your community. You can go out to a run, you can help coordinate something, you can get involved in the community garden. So universalize this in just a community setting, and all of a sudden, all of our families are healthier. We're going to the doctor a lot less. We're eating healthier because we need to. Because I need to eat healthier because I need to go to my HIIT training. I need to go to health and not puke again like I did last week, or like any time I've ever been to Chris's class. And then all of a sudden, we can set an example as this community where everyone's getting healthier consistently. And then we can even, from a statistical standpoint, look at this maybe 2 years down the line and say, everyone here has gotten healthier, and we demand healthcare less. And what happens if we set an example that then a community buys into that, and they take what we've done and they apply what we've done to their practice, right? And then another community buys into that, and they pick what works for them, and then they exemplify that. Then all of a sudden you can create like an entire city behind it, right? And that's kind of where Denver's already on that path. And so my job for you guys is to help you create that mindset of mastery and help manifest that. The first thing is hydration. If your body's not hydrated, it's not going to produce the energy that you want it to. This is a really simple notion, but it's something that you got to drive home. When you wake up in the morning, for you guys, how many people do the 5:15 health class here? A lot of you guys here? All right, so when you wake up early in the morning and you don't drink any water, your body is completely depleted. It's very dehydrated. So when you don't have any water and you come to a health class and you're not really sweating, that is a red flag, right? You need to wake up in the morning and have 2 glasses of water. Like, it's no big deal. Your body's ready for it. You're going to absorb it. It's going to get into your cells, and you're going to start working properly. This goes for this hour to 2 hours before. So an hour to 2 hours before, you need to have 2 glasses of water, at least. Hopefully like high quality water. But then it also comes down to our fuel supply, right? So complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates, right? We all kind of know the differences of those, right? You got like starchy vegetables, you've got your quinoa, you've got oatmeal, you have sweet potatoes. All of those things fall under complex carbohydrates. Those are more like long-term fuel. And then you have your simple carbohydrates, which comes more from fruits, like juices, definitely, coconut water, those real simple sources of sugar. So on a graph, which is very, very detailed and very immaculate here, you're going to see complex carbohydrates 1 to 2 hours before are very high. Simple carbohydrates 1 to 2 hours before is very low. As we get closer to the workout, you're going to have more simple carbohydrates and you're going to have fewer complex carbohydrates. So why would you do that? Well, if you have complex carbohydrates in your system and they take around an hour and a half to be utilized as fuel, hour to an hour and a half, why would you want to have those right before your workout if your workout's only an hour long, or even an hour and a half long? You want that fuel to be ready. You don't want that fuel for afterwards, because you can fuel yourself afterwards. Okay? Simple carbohydrates, you don't want to have apple juice at 4 o'clock in the morning and spike your blood sugar, and then all of a sudden you get tired again at 5:15 when you start your class, because basically blood sugar rises, and the faster it rises, the faster it's going to go down. So we want a sustained release of fuel. So if you wake up in the morning after your 2 glasses of water, you're doing your thing, you have maybe just like a small cup of oatmeal. If you're in a rush, literally having maybe some like quinoa that's left over that you just have a couple bites of really helps your body from a hormonal standpoint. It doesn't have to be a lot. A lot of people, and this comes from a lot of nutritionists, they read it in the books that you need to have like 40 grams of carbohydrates an hour before. But really the way your hormones work is they just need a little bit. So like if you guys are wanting to lose weight, or you're like, if you're kind of scared of eating a whole bunch, have 2 bites of quinoa, 30 minutes, 45 minutes before your workout. That 2 bites of quinoa is going to help fuel you so that you don't bonk halfway through your workout. And then your simple carbohydrates is maybe just like a little bit of fruit juice, or like a lot of people I've even coached here do like maybe a half of banana on the way to the workout. Those simple carbohydrates absorb and they're ready to use within 20 minutes. If you want to have energy right when you start your workout, then you have like a banana, or a lot of people do coconut juice. A product that I've used a lot is using the Vega pre-workout, which we have here. It also has like a little bit of caffeine in it, and a little bit of caffeine is totally fine as long as your body responds to it well. A lot of people ask me, like, is coffee okay? Like, coffee is just fine. It's just when you have 4 cups a day that it's kind of ridiculous. If you have a little bit of coffee, and coffee depletes your body in potassium, so if you have coffee with a little, like a source of potassium, which is from bananas, and what did you say, coconut water? All right, so those 2 examples, really easy, really easy to find. You can find them at Safeway, Whole Foods, wherever. Half a banana or a whole banana if you're getting crazy, and a coconut juice, and you're fine, right? So you mix a little bit of caffeine with a little bit of hydration, and you're good to go. During the workout, I really don't need a whole lot. For some of you guys who do like the 2-hour plus workouts, it's actually going to be beneficial to utilize at least some sort of caloric fuel or calories during your workout. Think about your fuel supply. Your body, when it's just chilling out, has around 6 hours of fuel that it can store as far as glycogen or your stored carbohydrates, okay? So think 6 hours of stored fuel when you're just chilling, even sleeping, that's going to be burned out by the time you wake up, right? So you're going to have really low fuel levels, which means you definitely need to get something in you before you work out. So then, when you're working out and you're at that like level 9, level 10 stress level, that number depletes very quickly. For a lot of us, it's going to be an hour and a half to 2 hours. And it depends on the type of training that you're doing. You guys, this is more geared towards high intensity interval training. You guys are burning sugar. If you think you're burning fat while you're working out and you're like, oh man, I'm burning all my fat and I'm going to get lean and toned. No, you're actually burning a ton of sugar. And that's okay. The way that you work your nutrition, you're actually going to burn fat while you're resting. Because fat takes a long time to use as fuel. And that's why we haven't talked about putting fat in before you get your workout in. Because fat, it's not the most efficient supply of fuel. If you're doing like a long distance endurance run and you're just kind of like chilling out, running like this, that is going to be more of a fat burning workout, right? Burning sugar is totally fine. But if you're going to go 1.5 to 2 hours and you haven't had any sort of fuel whatsoever, you're going to notice that maybe you start getting lightheaded. You start to just like, maybe whoever the teacher is says like, a couple more sets of 10 more seconds and you just can't do it anymore. You can't keep going with the core work. You cannot keep sprinting on the bicycle. It's not because you suck. It's because your fuel level is low. It's really simple. It's like mathematical. It's just, 1 plus 1 equals 2. If you don't have any fuel, you're not going to be able to go anymore. And that's just how your body works. Your body will stop itself. And when it stops itself, it sucks. And then emotionally, you're like, man, I wish I could have done that. But if you just have a little bit of simple sugar throughout your workout, it's really great. A few examples is obviously like coconut juice or having some fruit juice on hand. I really like the pressery products that you guys are going to be able to try out because they're fresh pressed, they're simple sugars, but they're also going to not be denatured in any way. So you're going to get vitamins, nutrients, minerals, different electrolytes that help support you through the workout as well. Post-workout nutrition, we got another really fancy graph. Protein and simple sugar. on the top of the list as far as right away, and then we start to integrate healthy fats later on. The anabolic window is the time where essentially you're able to take in fuel, and instead of the fuel being processed in its normal kind of slow way, the fuel gets processed and it's thrown right to your muscles immediately. So people talk about an anabolic window being like 0 to 30 minutes. I'm going to shift that a little bit because it is an anabolic window. It has a negative trajectory. It goes down. So by 30 minutes, it's going to be a little bit beneficial, but not a whole lot beneficial. So I'm going to say 0 to 5 minutes of an anabolic window. That means that right after your workout, you put in protein and simple sugar right away. Take this protein and simple sugar blend, and let's talk about some examples for these blends. My favorite is very simple. It's just protein powder. I really like using the Vega products because it's all plant-based and there's no artificial anything in there. There's no soy, there's no gluten, and it's just a pretty sustainable product. So I like taking their performance protein and mixing it with coconut juice. Or what some people ask, like, what are some whole food options? You know, a couple ounces, like 3 to 4 ounces of chicken breast. If you're wanting to keep it down a little bit, 1 to 2 ounces is fine. That's going to be one of the easiest sources of protein for your body. Egg whites are also a really good source of your protein for your body. Even like if you wanted to have some like vegetarian or vegan options, just going back to like quinoa and maybe like a quinoa and black bean mixture is actually really healthy. You guys know one of the richest sources of protein percentage-wise? It's green food. Anybody? Kale's pretty good, but this is like kale's unpopular big brother. Broccoli? Broccoli. So broccoli, another cruciferous vegetable, is actually going to be in like a full cup is going to be around 8 grams of protein. So if you like juice, get like, you know, some really dense green juices. Again, Pressery has one that has a pretty good amount of protein in it as well. But that could be something that you have immediately after your workout. And then right after your workout, you have this protein and simple sugar blend. All of a sudden, you take in this fuel, and it gets dispersed right away. You bypass an insulin response. It goes directly into your muscle cells, and your muscles start to build, and they start to be replenished. And what's really great, I mean, that's great and all, but what's awesome is that your body works by memory. We all know kind of the general idea of how DNA works. And so think about your body being replenished. It just worked out really, really hard. It went in super fight or flight mode, but then afterwards it got replenished. Think about like Paleolithic era, where you go on a hunt. And you go on a hunt, and then right afterwards you get food. Okay? Like you get the kill, you eat, everybody's happy. Now what happens if you don't get the kill? All of a sudden you're in starvation mode. And that would suck, right? Your body would start to store more because it doesn't think it's going to eat. It doesn't know when it's going to eat again. So if you fuel yourself right away, your body starts to build this pattern. And it says, okay, like, all right, yesterday I got fueled really well. At the same time last week I got fueled really well after I worked out. And here I am at level 10 stress regimen. And I'm, okay, I guess I know I'm going to get fueled right afterwards because that's been happening consistently. So now I'm going to be able to push to that next level. And as I push to that next level, that's when you guys get stronger. That's when you get faster. That's when burning more calories actually happens. And that's when you start to master whatever the art of movement that you do. Even like the good fats from like chia seeds, flax seeds, you know, fish, all of those, they actually have to be absorbed all the way through your lymphatic system before being processed in your liver and being dispersed as fuel. So it takes a really long time. What it also does is it slows your stomach, your gastric emptying. So if you eat a lot of fat, it's actually a good thing for like middle of the day because you want to have a sustained release of energy. But if you have a lot of fat in your system, it's not going to release as quickly. So obviously, if we want to optimize that anabolic window, we don't want to have any fat involved. The only fats that are exception to the rule are coconut oil and palm fats because these are going to be shorter, they're more condensed, and they don't need to be absorbed through the lymphatics. They actually get absorbed as quickly as sugar, they're burned really efficiently, they're like the flex fuel for your body. They also don't produce lactate, which makes your muscles really sore. So coconut oil or like a coconut milk protein shake or something like that would be really delicious here. An example would be like coconut milk, maybe like frozen mangoes, frozen berries, and then your protein mixture. Do this post-workout, whether it's liquid calories or just like a simple whole food meal. You do that immediately after your workout. And now we need to work into our rest phase. And our rest phase is like while we're at work. And this is actually the time when you burn the most fat. This is going to be the time where your body can actually transform itself. Think about this meal that comes afterwards. Think that you have all of this inflammation that's occurring, all of this fire, which is really good. You want to build up that fire, but now we need to cool it down. Because if you don't cool down the fire, it's not going to be able to burn back up again. So we need to cool down the fire, and the best way to do that is integrating healthy fats from like omega-3 fat sources. Alkaline foods are going to be like your vegetables, your greens. They're going to be less inflammatory. Okay? Think of acids, think of coffee, think of processed carbohydrates, processed fats. You know, it's the bad stuff. What's also good, you guys know actually the richest source of omega-3 on Earth? It's a trick question. It doesn't come from fish or chia seeds or anything like that. It actually comes from everything that's green. So all grasses, all leaves are actually really high in omega-3. They don't have a whole lot of fat at all, but the fat that they do have is predominantly omega-3 fats. So even like your kales, your broccolis, your spinach, all of those things contain omega-3. With your body at this state is that now that it's fueled and it's starting to cool down, the muscles that you've replenished right afterwards, they start to crowd out the space that used to exist with fat. So your muscles start to be replenished, and you start to cool your body down. So as your muscles are just hanging out, you guys know muscle tone is really your muscles just don't really turn off ever. They're just always working. So when you have a toned muscle, what's happening is it's still working. But because you're just chilling at your desk, or taking a nap, or just hanging out, it's going to burn primarily fat. And this is where you guys get your results that you're looking for as far as like physical transformation. If you get at least maybe 1, maybe 2 meals in, your body's going to be cooled down, your muscles are going to be replenished, they've gotten their rest, and now you can go out and have a beer, and it's not that big of a deal. Your body's going to be able to process it, your liver's going to be functioning well because your body was able to heat up and you were able to burn a lot of toxins. So now you can put in a cocktail and it's not going to be, horrible. You can have some chicken wings that maybe have some really weird genetically modified fat, but your body's going to be able to break that down at least as much as it can. Think of it as, okay, I've got this machine that I need to fuel, that I need to exercise, and then I fuel it. Now I'm good, and now I'm going to enjoy like the rest of my day, or I might enjoy my weekend. Think that if you go to like 3 health workouts a week, or maybe you're going after it like 6 days a week, then you have that leeway to say, okay, like I totally took care of my body. I set the example, and that's the big thing for me, is that I don't do it necessarily just for my body. I do it to show everybody that it's possible, that I can be a relatively lazy person and still be able to follow through with these things, because they are really that simple. I want all of you guys, as we become athletes in this community, to be able to work out twice a day like it's no big deal. Okay? I want you to be able to go to health class, and then I want you to be able to go to the Get Loose class in the afternoon like it's no big deal. And you're just going to feel energized. And you're going to just keep getting better and better, stronger and stronger.